Hi, it's Chris with Implied Music. Some days you just want to play with your toys. Well, Enso is a software-based looper that's definitely one of my toys. It can be a little bit quirky and is weird. Let's take a look at it. So Enso is a software looper from Audio Damage. Like a looper pedal, it allows you to record some amount of audio and then play it back. But it does a bunch of other things as well. If you're a fan of frippertronics, the gradual overlaying, degrading sound of long tape loops, like I am, Enso might be something for you. It's not a new piece of software. In fact, it's been sort of kicking around for a while. I don't think it's widely used. I'm not entirely satisfied with it. When I'm playing live, I frequently will use MainStage's looper or Ableton Live's looper because it's maybe a little more reliable, but in the studio, it's fun. Let's look at how I play around with it. Well, this is the interface. And as you can see, the big circle in the middle represents the audio that we're going to record. There are a bunch of controls. The way I like to use Enso is as a giant tape loop, and we'll talk about how that works for me in a second. But just for the time being, let's record a little audio and then just listen. I'm going to turn on Dub in Place, and when I hit the trigger button, if my transport is running, because this definitely is just a plugin, there's no standalone, it'll start recording. Now, I like to set up Enso when I'm playing around with it like this right in my channel strip. So I'm going to a felt piano, I'm going to Enso, and then a little Space Designer. But I want to record the audio output of it because all the time it's creating new audio and streaming it out. So I'm taking that channel strip with a bus and recording it to an audio channel at the same time. Well, that's enough chit chat. Let's set it to record, and I'll just start a little pattern. Here we go. And now you can see we're playing the loop. Right now it's in play mode. You can see it's in green here. And it'll just sit here and play this loop for as long as I'd like, and I can play over the top. I have input monitor set to always, so if I play over the top, we'll hear what I put into it, right? And that's an awful lot of fun, but here's where Enso starts to be interesting. Because down here, we have effects that we can apply to the audio. First of all, tape saturation begins to add a little bit of juice to the output, which I think is just really lovely. That's about right. And I do think that a little low and high pass can help a lot. I'm going to take down the input filter. There we go. And we'll add a little bit of chorus, very slow chorusing. That might be too deep. There we go. And I can play over the top of this. Now, here's the next thing that I want to point out, because this is what turns it into frippertronics. If I turn off Dub in Place and turn the feedback up, those effects will begin to be printed back into the return. In other words, every time we go through it, we'll get a little more effect. 50% would, be half of the volume. So I want to be up here, basically. I just want it to come back in and come back in. There we go. This is good. Now, if I hit the trigger button again with the plus sign there, I can lay audio over the top. Let's do that. There I am. And the truth is, if I set the feedback high enough, it'll actually begin to kind of like oversaturate. We can get some really interesting, strong effects. In fact, you can go out of control. You can, and I just love that. You see the audio is getting louder and louder in this picture here. I guess what I would say is finding the balance in the feedback as you create the frippertronics effects is a really important idea. Do you hear it? Yeah. So I'm taking this down to 50% again or so, and I can just start playing over the top. At any time I could say, I like that sound. There's a little saturation distortion there, isn't there? And kick back into play. And now I can just play over the top of that. You have output controls for the dry and loop, as well as the input, which is super useful. And if I decide I'm liking this and I'm interested in it, I can kick back into overdub and really start working with these high and low pass filters and create a really gorgeous kind of lo-fi sound that I just think is so beautiful. We can add hiss, just like tape. Oh, that's gorgeous. Maybe a little bit too much hiss, but it's okay. I'm going to live with it. I'm just going to stop this, and when I do, Enso will stop. The transport needs to be running. Boom. That loop that I created is still sitting there in memory, and if I'd like, I can go to this floppy disk icon and save the loop out. But the truth is, what's I think really most interesting about Enso is the constant process of change. As we change the filters, as we change how the dub and place effects and feedback are interacting, we get a really interesting effect. You can map any of these, they call them obloids, buttons with their numerical values, to sliders, and also the trigger button to, say, a foot pedal or something like that. It's a terrific piece of software. It's the kind of thing that is very, I think, sort of performance and interactive based. Couldn't we stack two in one channel? That would be a blast. Setting your input monitor here can, give you options for using it as a, say, on a send instead of just in a channel strip itself. But all that aside, today was really just about goofing off with a looper, and God, don't we love doing that. And so it's not a bad choice. From audio damage, I think it's like $80 or so, 79, right? Yeah. Capitalism's $80 is 79. Super fun. Well, I hope this was useful. Like and subscribe, and ding the bell. You'll know when I post something new. I'll see you next time.